Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today I am going to share my concept for the PSP 5G. And yes, concept videos are back. I've wanted to do concept videos for quite a while. I have wanted to do a new one for quite a while. The last time I did one was for the Nintendo Switch 2 back in May of this year. And without further ado, after having to postpone the video because of everything in the UK going on right now regarding the Queen, I had to delay this video for a reason. And without further ado, let's get into the video, shall we? So the PSP 5G would probably retail for about $400. Don't even bother to ask why it would cost this much, but have the console with all the features in it, it would probably have to cost this much. And I couldn't find any realistic designs on the internet, so I had to come up with a design of my own, and I made it as realistic as it could. My photoshopping skills are not really the best, but this is what we've got here. So, out of the box, you would get the PSP 5G system, a USB Type-C to USB-A cable, not being a two-part charger like the PlayStation Vita, a manual, a USB charger block, similar to what you get with an iPhone, and an all-new Astro game pre-installed to be played on the PSP 5G. Not Astro's Playroom, an entirely new game to showcase the features of the PSP 5G, which most features taken from the PS5, but there is a few new features from the PSP 5G that could be implemented into this. So the features of the PSP 5G is the screen this time would be 6.8 inches, being a bit of an upgrade compared to the PlayStation Vita, with that only being 5 to 6 inches. I don't really know the screen size for the Vita, but I would presume that if PlayStation were to bring out another handheld, that they would probably make the screen a bit bigger than last time, with the screen being 6.8 inches. And the screen is a haptic screen as well, similar to how we have had haptic features within the iPhone screen within the past few years. It would have haptic feedback like the PlayStation 5, adaptive triggers L2 and R2, a touchpad on the back, which means they could bring backwards compatibility to Vita games on this, even though it would be like an all-digital thing. I would see Vita games being put onto the PlayStation Store that can only be played on the PSP 5G as a result. A 1080p AR camera, similar to how we've had augmented reality with the PlayStation Vita. I would love to see how some titles designed for PSP 5G managed to play around with AR. A USB Type-C port on the top. I know it might sound weird putting the USB-C port at the top, but that is the case with the DualSense controller. So if you wanted to plug the PSP 5G into the PS5, I would presume that you would have to plug it in through the top. It would have made more sense that way. A microphone built in, and I know this feature would be quite expensive to put in here, but a subscription locked 5G capability with a virtual SIM card built in. Like, from what I've been hearing, Apple in the United States, with the newly released iPhone 14, has brought out a virtual SIM to their phones. And I would see, if virtual SIM cards became like a big thing in the future, that they would implement this into the PSP 5G. And it being subscription locked might sound a bit odd, but it might be expensive to implement this a service into PlayStation Plus, which gives you access to 5G, which I could see them working with multiple networks to make this happen. Even though a feature like this would be quite expensive. The user interface would be the same as the PlayStation 5, but with a few new apps added to it, being Cast and the PS5 companion app. I know the UI being the same as the PS5 might sound a bit stupid, but the PSP actually had the same UI as the PS3. And the Vita did have its own separate UI. So I thought, if the PSP 5G was a return to roots for PlayStation handhelds, I would say sticking to that generation's UI would be a safe idea. And the new apps, Cast and the PS5 companion app, I will talk about later in the video. The haptic screen, like I talked about earlier, would be a new gimmick for the PSP 5G. Like, when playing certain PS5 games, you can touch the screen to make the handheld experience a bit more immersive. With the examples being, like, when you use the on-screen keyboard when typing stuff in a game, it feels like you're pressing on an actual keyboard. Similar to what I've been hearing about the Steam Deck. Like, I don't have a Steam Deck myself, but I have actually heard from people that the on-screen keyboard is haptic. And when you cast a game to the PS5, you can use the PSP 5G as the controller when casting a game. So the haptic screen would technically be the replacement for the touchpad on the DualSense controller. But the haptic screen would replicate the feeling of you pressing down on the touchpad. I know I just said this, but for the controller and casting, you're probably wondering what this is. But the PSP 5G could be used as a DualSense controller for the PS5. And I already said that the haptic screen replaces the touchpad, as it manages to replicate the feeling in this. But casting, I haven't fully explained what casting is. Like, similar to how we've had the Google Chromecast, for example, allowing users to cast games from the PSP 5G to the big screen via the PS5. So, if there's a certain game you have installed on PSP 5G and not PS5, being able to cast the game to the big screen without any form of cloud streaming or anything, just casting the game. So, games designed for PSP 5G, you could play on the big screen with this feature. And I bet there are going to be a few people asking about the games. Like, what games would be on this thing, though? Like, you can install selected titles from your PlayStation account to PSP 5G. But not all games are download compatible. You can only install games to your PSP 5G if you own the specific game digitally or through PlayStation Plus. But if you own a certain game physically, you can still play it on the PSP 5G through cloud streaming. You just can't download it. But other games such as Fortnite, Minecraft, and Rocket League would all have a separate version of the game compared to the PS4 and PS5. And it would say on the PlayStation Store card, where you have all the information about the file size, if it's compatible with the PlayStation VR, and how many players can play the game, it would tell you if it was download compatible. But certain games under 50 gigabytes would end up being reworked and compressed to make sure that they are download compatible. So the download compatible examples would be Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Bug Snacks. A game I wouldn't see being download compatible would be Cyberpunk 2077, Grand Theft Auto 5, and the Spider-Man games. The file size would probably be too big. And I would see the PSP 5G having a minimum of 128 and a maximum of 512 internally. So I would say, if this thing were to be, like, not as powerful as the PS5, but could still handle the games such as Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, I wouldn't see the PSP 5G handling Cyberpunk. But I could see it handling a lot of other games, though. But some games on the PlayStation Store would be bundled with a PSP 5G version. So, but if we eventually get a next-gen upgrade for Minecraft, for example, they could either bundle it with the PS5 and the PSP 5G versions, and I could see FIFA doing this as well. Like, if they were to compress FIFA down to make it work on the PSP 5G, I would see the PS5 and the PSP 5G versions of FIFA being bundled together. For the accessories, the PSP 5G DualSense mount, this accessory is similar to the ones that I have seen on Amazon that would allow users to mount their PSP 5G to their PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, which can be used with the PSP 5G, which means you are able to use the DualSense controller on it. And for the Pulse 3D headset revision, this revision of the Pulse 3D headset makes things easier to not only use them on the PS5, but on the PSP 5G as well, by ditching the dongle. I don't think a dongle on a handheld really makes sense, which it has on the Nintendo Switch for quite a while until they brought in a Bluetooth update, but that's a different argument, which would allow users to connect the Pulse 3D like it's a headset. But this could also release in earbud form to make things more portable. For media, I know a lot of people are going to come after me because this might be one of the dumbest features to exist, but unlike the PS5, the PSP 5G could have their own versions of certain media apps developed for PSP 5G as well as the Nintendo Switch, allowing users to download movies, TV shows, and music, similar to how you can on the mobile versions. And you can access any form of media downloaded through the downloaded media app on the PSP 5G, which syncs with Spotify, Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, which is not available in the UK, and more. And to allow users to watch downloaded media while they're away from an internet connection. And for the companion app for the PSP 5G will sync with your PS5, which means this companion app will allow you to remotely install games between the two. But if you own more than one PSP 5G system, there would be a family account option to allow parents to create an account and assign PSP 5G systems to it, and which system is owned by which family member, which means you can add like restrictions and stuff to like the system itself and all of that. And a feature like this would be similar to Nintendo Switch parental controls. The companion app will be built in to the PlayStation app on mobile devices as well. For the release, Sony hasn't really announced plans for a new handheld, but if Sony were to do it, I'm probably guessing it would come around holiday of 2024 to celebrate the PSP's 20th anniversary. And I doubt that Sony are gonna make another handheld, because after how the Vita performed in sales, like, the Vita wasn't a bad system. It just lacked support. And without dedicated exclusives, I wouldn't really see this selling well. But if this were to exist, I would probably buy it, because I'm pretty much a definitive gamer, so I would probably buy it anyways. So guys, what did you think of my PSP 5G concept video? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another video like this one. And if Sony were to release another handheld, would you buy it? I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.